Appreciate it, Superb, man. Whew, Chile, y'all be killing this conversation out here, man. This is good stuff, man. I've actually gone over the time to get to the next topic, so let me park this one. We'll come back to another topic like this because I think it's important to discuss this, and it's good that we have father figures on the platform as well because I think you guys don't realize how important you are. Trey, you've been on the platform you long enough. CP, you know as well. AB, you've been on there. Ty's been on here a long time too. The ladies need to see stuff like this. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Okay. All right. And the guys too need to see this as well. All right. So, we know the guys are in there, but sometimes they don't comment. If you're a guy out there, listen, we're not offering any condemnation. What we're saying is if you're in a similar situation like this, as CPUT just ended perfectly, it's time to take a decision. You know what I mean? It's never too late. You know what I mean? To turn that boat around. So we're not offering condemnation. What we're offering is a hand to say, listen, hey, look at the situation. It's time to make a decision. That's what men do. That's what men do. They make a decision and say, hey, look, I don't want to see the same thing happen to my kids. I'm going to take a decision to be different. So it's important to make that decision, and to know that, listen, hey, it makes a difference. Your presence makes a difference. Your presence is influential, and your love can do a lot. So don't let that go. So moving on though to the conversation that was meant to be had. My bad. I should have done this about 45 minutes ago, but the conversation was so deep. The conversation we're having today is actually around the topic: what is holding black men back in 2023? I guess one of them is having kids all over the place. So, but what I want to ask, that question is quite an open question. So I'm sure we'll have different viewpoints on this. What is holding black men back in 2023? Is anything holding black men back? Maybe there's nothing holding us back. What is holding black men back? Who would like to tackle this first? What is holding black men back? Hmm?
In what's the end goal? Success? Um, is that where we're going? What's holding
Take it how
black
you
men
want to take
back
it.
from
It's a
success?
it can be a philosophical question for you. Take it how you want to take it, sir.
Oh
When it
man,
comes to when you hear that question, what do you think of?
I think it's the individual. I think at in the end, you control your life. You make decisions on your life. Yes, there are outside influences that affect those decisions. I do agree with that. Um, whew, we could be here all day, Kojo. We could be here all day. Um, I think there's a support system. We just touched on, the lack of accountability, the lack of consequences, that fear of, you know, messing up, at a young age, because kids, they're not getting whipped like they used to. You know what I mean? And then I also think, the village is not holding them accountable. We see it sometimes. Sometimes we see 30, 40, 50 kids rampaging in the streets, you know? Um, how did that get to number 8, 9, 10? At some point, somebody should have said something, but to have 40, 50 kids agree to go ransack a 7-Eleven, you know, um, there's something missing there. And that's just one example. We talked about, outside influences a little bit. And I think what we're seeing a lot at a subconscious level is that there's a lot of negative imagery that's being promoted as positive or the thing to do. And it's almost getting to a point where you can't even have a relationship. You can't even get the girl unless you're a bad guy, you know? Um, it's like the good guys aren't winning. We don't hear the stories of the good guys. All the good guys are the corny guys now, and nobody wants to be corny. You know, wow, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to come back. I'm gonna have to come back, but that's where I would start.
Yeah, I think the thing with this is no one right answer. It's so many things. It's a combination of things. And Tyrone like started off greatly with a lot of the things that he said. Kind of I might echo a lot of the things that he said. I think it really starts with the mindset. Um, I know there's a book that I often read, As a Man Thinketh, So Is He. You know, our mindset, ourselves, that's what holds us back a lot of the times. Just the way we think, the way we process, our perspectives, the way we view ourselves, the world, society, relationships, that hold us back. Um, Something what a lot of guys were saying, we haven't, a lot of men haven't had good examples to follow. So that gets in your way if you don't have that example, if you don't have that model to walk in the path. Like you'll walk around lost. You walk around lost. Like a lot of guys are saying, we often seek transactional relationships when we should be seeking transformational relationships. We just want to give and take. We don't want to get into relationships where we can actually grow and mature and move to different levels. There's so much stuff. There's self sabotage. There's fears. Like Tyrone said, I can probably go on and on of what's holding black men back, and it's also so individualized. Each man that find himself stagnated is being held back for a different reason. So I know we'll get more into it as the conversation goes on, but yeah, that's a layered question, and the answer is just as layered.
Appreciate it. Dre, what's holding the black man back in 2023?
This is a very broad question, extremely broad. We're gonna have to narrow it down to some specifics if we want to get some real answers. Because the broadest answer I can give is basically ourselves and the situations that we put ourselves in. Because it always starts with yourself, you know. But yeah, this wow, it could be a number of things. Like everybody's been echoing, like, whew, you know, people, your self worth, your not believing in yourself, not getting the proper education to achieve what you want to achieve, just being lazy. I don't know. Either way, it starts with yourself. Me personally, I don't like pointing fingers to one particular thing because even when you start pointing fingers, you do start trying to push the blame off of yourself. You know, and I kind of don't like that. It starts with me. It always starts with me. Am I going to have obstacles? Of course, that's life. There's going to be obstacles. What matters is how I navigate those obstacles. How do I get past those obstacles? Whatever it might be, financial, social, or whatever. It starts with you. So, what holds men back? 2023 starts with us, and then we can branch out on the more ancillary